Ola The Abacha Seller.
In a small Nigerian village called Omona, there was a woman named Ola. Ola was well known for her abacha, a traditional dish made from cassava, palm oil, vegetables, and spices. In other places, people called it African salad. Everyone in the village loved to eat Ola's abacha because it was the most delicious in all of Omona. No one knew why her abacha tasted so special, but people came from far and wide just to buy from her. Every morning, her store would be crowded with hungry villagers eager to get a taste. But Ola had a dark secret. While other women in the village sold abacha as well, no one could compete with Ola. Their stores would stay empty, and they would often have to throw away their abacha because no one bought from them. It made the other sellers very sad and worried, but Ola don't care. She would smile sweetly at them and say, "Maybe you are not adding enough salt." Little did they know salt wasn't the problem. Late at night, when the moon was high and the village was quiet, Ola would sneak out of her house. She would cover her face with a dark cloth and make her way to the town mortuary where dead bodies were kept.
The mortuary was where the bodies of the dead were kept before they were buried. It was a place filled with sorrow and death, and the villagers feared it. But Ola had no fear. She had made a deal with the mortuary attendant, an old man named Okoro, who was known for his greedy. For a small fee, Okoro allowed Ola to enter the mortuary and collect something that no one could ever imagine using in food: dead body water. This was the water that was used to wash the bodies of the dead before they were dressed for burial. Ola would take this water along with a small piece of the dead body's clothes back to her home. She believed that this water had magical properties, and she was convinced that it was the secret ingredient that made her abacha taste so good. She would mix the dead body water into her abacha, and as soon as people tasted it, they were hooked. They couldn't get enough of it, and they kept coming back for more. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Ola's abacha business continued to thrive, while the other women in the village struggled to make ends meet. People were enchanted by the taste of Ola's abacha, and they stopped buying from anyone else. But there was something even darker at play. Ola wasn't just using the dead body water to enhance the flavor of her abacha. She was also using it to cast a spell on the villagers. The more they ate her abacha, the more they became bound to her. They couldn't think of buying abacha from anyone else, and they became obsessed with the taste. The women who sold abacha noticed something strange happening in the village. The people who ate Ola's abacha seemed to be in a trance. They would talk about nothing else but Ola's abacha, and they became aggressive if anyone suggested buying abacha from someone else. It was as if they were under a spell. Despite the strange behavior of the villagers, no one could figure out what was really going on. Ola continued to sell her abacha, and the other women continued to suffer. They don't know that Ola's success was built on the foundation of evil. As time went on, the women became desperate. They decided to confront Ola and find out her secrets. One day, a group of them gathered their courage and went to Ola's house. They found her sitting outside, preparing ingredients for her abacha. "Ola, we need to talk," said Neka, one of the abacha sellers. "We don't understand why no one buys our abacha. What is your secret?"
Ola looked up and smiled, but it was a cold smile that sent shivers down their body. "There is no secret," she said. "I just know how to make good abacha. Maybe you should try harder." The women were not convinced. They knew there was something Ola wasn't telling them, but they couldn't prove it. They left her house feeling defeated and hopeless. But the truth was about to come out. One night, a young man named Dike, who worked at the mortuary with Okoro, was on his way home when he saw something strange. He saw Ola sneaking into the mortuary. Curious, Ike followed her quietly and watched as she collected the dead body water. He was horrified by what he just saw, but decided to keep quiet for the time being. The next day, Ike couldn't stop thinking about what he had seen. He knew he had to do something, but he was afraid of confronting Ola. He decided to tell his friend Obi, who was a respected elder in the village. Obi was shocked when he heard Ike's story. "This is serious," he said. "We can't let this continue. We must stop Ola before more harm is being done." Obi and Ike devised a plan to catch Ola in the act. They will wait until nightfall and then follow her to the mortuary. Once they had proof of her actions, they will expose her to the whole village.
That night, they hid near Ola's house and waited. Sure enough, just as they had expected, Ola made out of her house and made her way to the mortuary. They followed her silently, staying out of sight. When they arrived at the mortuary, they watched as Ola collected the dead body water and left. With proof in hand, Obi and Ike decided it was time to expose Ola. The next morning, they gathered the villagers and told them everything. The villagers were horrified and couldn't believe what they were hearing. They had been eating abacha made with dead body water. The villagers stormed Ola's house, demanding an explanation. Ola tried to deny everything, but when Obi and Ike presented the evidence, she had no choice but to confess. The villagers were furious and they wanted to punish Ola for her evil deeds. But Obi, being a wise elder, decided that there was a more important lesson to be learned. "We must remember that evil deeds will always come to light," he said. "Ola has deceived us, but we must also be careful about what we consume. Let this be a lesson to all of us to be mindful of the food we eat and the people we trust." The villagers agreed and they decided to banish Ola from the village. She was never seen again, and the other women who sold abacha were finally able to make a living again. Moral lesson: this story of Ola teaches us that evil deeds, no matter how well hidden, will eventually be exposed. It also reminds us to be conscious about the food we eat and the people we trust. Deceit and greed can lead to terrible consequences, and it's important to be mindful of the choices we make. So thank you guys for watching, and please come back for more stories. I love you.